The Alberton Grand Hotel sparkled like a palace that night. Crystal chandeliers dripped golden light across marble floors, and a soft orchestra played in the background as the city's wealthiest elites floated through the ballroom like they owned the world, because many of them did. For them, it was another glamorous charity gala. For Alina, it was survival. She adjusted her simple black server uniform and balanced the tray on her palm, trying to blend into the glittering walls. Her stomach twisted. Not from hunger, though she hadn't eaten more than bread and tea since morning, but from the pressure of knowing she needed this money. Rent was due. Ian's medicine was almost finished. Her 8-year-old brother's smile flashed in her mind. Brave, even with illness weakening him day by day. "Didi, you're my hero," he always said. And heroes didn't cry in fancy hotels. She inhaled deeply, forced her shoulders straight, and moved across the room. A different life once. Alina once belonged to a world like this, not by wealth, but by ambition. The daughter of a music teacher and a piano tuner, she grew up surrounded by melodies. The old upright piano in her childhood living room wasn't just furniture, it was their heart. Her mother taught her first notes. Her father tuned the keys and told her, "Music doesn't just fill rooms, Betty, it fills souls." At 12, she won a state-level competition. By 17, she wrote her first composition. Dreams of conservatories and concert halls filled her nights. Then tragedy struck like a storm with no warning. A car accident took her parents. Grief hollowed the house. Debts suffocated her. The music stopped, until survival forced her to sell the piano. She held her breath while strangers wheeled away the most precious thing she ever owned. When the door shut, the silence was unbearable. Nothing in her life returned to normal after that. But she had Ian. And she had fight. The gala. Tonight, she tried to avoid notice. The wealthy always sensed weakness like hunters spotting prey. Champagne. She offered softly to a group of laughing women. One of them, tall with perfect curls, barely glanced at her. "Oh honey," she mocked, "you look so nervous. Relax, it's not like we bite." They all laughed. Alina smiled politely because she needed this job more than she needed dignity. As she turned away, another server whispered, "Ignore them. Rich doesn't always mean kind." But fate rarely listened. Near the center of the hall stood a grand white piano, glossy, elegant, far more majestic than the one she grew up with. Every time she passed it, her heart tightened, as if the keys whispered to her, "You used to belong here." "Hey, you there," a voice suddenly called. Alina stopped. A group of 4 wealthy guests, led by the same woman from before, waved her over. Their champagne glasses sparkled like their amused expressions. "You know how to play this thing?" the woman asked, gesturing to the piano. Alina froze. Her throat felt tight. "I just serve drinks, ma'am." The man beside her smirked. "Oh come on. This gala needs entertainment. Let's see if the waitress can play Beethoven or whatever poor people play." Laughter again. Sharp, cold. Someone whispered loudly, "This will be hilarious." Alina's ears burned. A flush crept up her neck. Not humiliation. Anger. But anger did nothing when your pockets were empty and your brother needed medication. I really shouldn't," she murmured. "Don't be shy," the woman taunted. "It's just for fun. A little joke." To them, people like her were punchlines. The room seemed to tilt. For a moment, she wanted to run, to disappear, to bury herself in the quiet places she used to hide inside her music. Another server tried to step in. "She's working." But Alina lifted a hand gently. Something inside her had shifted. A voice, her mother's, seemed to whisper, "Your talent isn't shame. It's your soul." She placed the tray down on the nearest table. "All right," she said softly. "I'll play." The crowd perked up. Others turned to watch, expecting clumsy hands and off-key noise. Someone took out a phone, ready to record her embarrassment. Her steps toward the piano felt like walking through thick water. When she sat on the bench, her fingers trembled. She brushed them lightly across the ivory surface, cool, smooth, familiar and foreign at once. The hall noise softened as people paused to observe this little spectacle. Alina closed her eyes, and the world faded. The music awakens. Her fingers pressed the keys softly at first, a simple sequence, like breathing. Then deeper, richer, rising into a melody full of emotion, her emotion. It wasn't written on any sheet. It was carved into her heart. Notes poured like tears, smooth arpeggios, aching pauses, crescendos that lifted the room then fell delicately like petals. She played the piece she composed the night after she sold her parents' piano, a melody of goodbye and hope, grief and love, despair and resolve. It was everything she had ever lost, and everything she refused to stop dreaming for. The ballroom froze. Voices died. Glasses stopped clinking. People stared, not at a servant anymore, but at an artist who bled emotion into every sound. Some put down their phones, ashamed. Others held their breath without realizing. Staff peeked from corners, stunned. Cheers blurred Alina's vision as she played the final passage, soft, gentle, like her mother's hand smoothing her hair. And when the last note faded into the chandelier's glow, silence draped the hall like velvet. For 3 long seconds, no one moved. Then, one clap, slow, echoing. Everyone turned. A man in a tailored black suit stood near the stage. Tall, composed, strikingly handsome, with sharp eyes softened by emotion he couldn't hide. Ryan Halim, the youngest billionaire CEO in the region. The man on magazine covers. The one whose approval shook industries. He wasn't smiling. He was moved. Deeply. He stepped toward her. The room exhaled in awe. Alina blinked, startled, wiping a tear from her cheek. "You play," he began, voice low but filled with something reverent, like someone who has lived 1,000 lives in one. Her breath shook. She could only whisper, "Thank you, sir." "What is your name?" he asked gently. "Alina," she said. He nodded slowly, as if committing the name to memory. "Alina, where did you learn to play like that?" A lump rose in her throat. "Home," she whispered. Before life changed. Ryan's gaze softened further, almost protective, as if he understood more than he said. Before she could move, applause thundered around her, genuine, stunned, emotional. But she heard none of it, because after years of silence, she had finally spoken again, not with words, but with music. And she didn't yet know it. But her life had just changed again. This time, not from tragedy. From fate. To be continued. Applause faded, but the tremor in Alina's chest did not. She stood slowly, her legs weak, not from fear anymore, but from the emotional storm she had just released into the world. Ryan Halim, the billionaire whose presence commanded rooms and headlines, was now standing just feet away. His calm face held an expression rarely seen on men carved by power, vulnerability. As he approached, the crowd parted instinctively, eyes flicking between him and the humble server who had just stunned them all. "You don't belong behind trays and tables," he said softly. His voice carried warmth, not arrogance. Something inside Alina wanted to believe him, yet life had taught her not to trust miracles. "I appreciate your words, sir," she replied, lowering her gaze. "But this is my job. I have responsibilities." He studied her face, noticing the exhaustion in her eyes, the strength hidden beneath quiet humility. "Let me help you," he said. Her heart clenched. Help. It sounded like a luxury she no longer dared to desire. "I don't want charity." A faint smile touched his lips. "Talent isn't charity, it's investment." Before she could respond, the event manager rushed over, breathless. "Mr. Halim, I had no idea she could play. Please forgive." "She doesn't owe forgiveness," Ryan interrupted sharply. "Respect is not optional." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The manager's face drained of color. Alina swallowed hard. She wanted to disappear. Attention had never felt like this before. But before she could whisper a thank you, her phone vibrated. Ian's hospital flashed across the screen. Her blood froze. She pressed accept. "Hello." A nurse's urgent voice filled her ear. "Miss Alina, your brother's condition is worsening. We need to run more tests tonight." Her breath trembled. I'll come immediately." She didn't notice the room watching her go pale, only that she needed to move. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the manager. "I have to leave. My brother, he's in the hospital." Memory, fear, love, all collided in her voice. Ryan heard everything. Without hesitation he stepped forward. "I'll take you. My car is outside." No, I don't want to trouble." "You won't," he said firmly, eyes earnest. "Let me help." Something in his tone made refusal impossible. A warmth, not pity, but sincerity, wrapped around his words. She nodded weakly. Thank you. The ride. The luxury car glided through city lights, but silence sat between them like a delicate thread. Alina stared out the window, clutching her phone, heart racing with worry. Ryan watched her for a moment before asking, "Your brother, he's all you have?" "Yes," she whispered. "After my parents died, it's just been us. He's only 8. He's brave but his illness," her voice cracked. Ryan didn't look away. "You've carried a world on your shoulders." She blinked hard. No one had said that to her before. Strangers offered sympathy. This felt like recognition. "What about you?" she asked quietly. "You looked moved by the music." He exhaled slowly, gaze drifting toward the night sky. "I lost someone too. Years ago. Music was her refuge. His sister. The one tabloids once whispered about." The memory tightened his jaw, just slightly. "At the gala," he continued, "when you played, I felt something I haven't felt in a long time." There was no romance in his tone, just truth and grief shared between two lonely souls crossing paths by fate. Their eyes met. Understanding bridged silently between them. The hospital. The car stopped. Fluorescent lights, antiseptic smell, hurried footsteps. This was Alina's second home. She walked fast, Ryan following at a respectful distance. Ian lay in a small bed, pale but smiling despite his IV. "Dee," he whispered joyfully. "You look like Cinderella." A sad laugh escaped her. "More like a tired maid." "No," Ryan said gently, stepping in. "She looked like a star tonight." Ian's eyes widened. "Are you a movie hero?" Ryan chuckled softly. "No, little man. Just someone lucky enough to hear your sister play." Ian puffed proudly. "She's amazing. She sings too." "Ian," Alina whispered, embarrassed. Ryan smiled. "Then the world needs to hear her." A nurse walked in. "We need to run tests. It may cost." "I'll handle it," Ryan said before she finished. Alina froze. "No, please. I don't want to owe." "You don't owe me anything," he replied softly. "Let me stand with you, not above you." Her throat tightened. It felt too much, too sudden. "But why?" she whispered. "Why help me?" He met her eyes. "Because sometimes life places the right person in front of us at the right moment. And only a fool lets fate go." Silence. Deep. Emotional. Ian reached for Alina's hand with one tiny palm, and Ryan's coat sleeve with the other, naive innocence bridging two worlds effortlessly. "Can he stay?" Ian asked the nurse. Ryan leaned in gently. "If your sister allows." Alina looked at him. Really looked, and nodded. A door opens. Hours passed. Tests ran. Ian rested, and in a quiet waiting chair, exhaustion tugging at her, Alina finally whispered. "I want to dream again. I want music back, but I'm scared." Ryan's voice was steady, warm. "Courage isn't absence of fear. It's moving despite it." Tears filled her eyes. Soft, silent, cleansing. He reached out. Not to hold her hand, but to offer a tissue. Respectful, gentle, knowing boundaries. "Tomorrow," he said, "meet me at Halim Conservatory." Her head snapped up. "That's your music foundation. A place where prodigies trained. A world she thought closed to her forever." "Yes," he said, "I want to give you a full scholarship. Professional training, housing, support for your brother's treatment." The world blurred. "Why me?" His expression was simple, sincere. "Because passion like yours deserves a stage, not a tray." Her breath shook. "What if I fail?" He smiled softly. "Then you fail while trying. But I don't think you will." The new beginning. Sunlight crept through hospital curtains. Morning arrived quietly. Ian slept peacefully. Before leaving, Ryan paused by the door. "One more thing." She looked up, heart trembling. "You don't owe me success," he said. "But promise me one thing." "What?" "Never stop playing." Her voice broke. "I promise." He gave one last look, one filled with respect, hope, and something unspoken, before stepping out. Alina sank into the chair, overwhelmed. Life had been cruel. Life had been heavy. Yet now, life whispered possibility again. She held Ian's hand and whispered to the universe. "I won't waste this chance." Somewhere beyond her grief and struggle, a new melody formed, not mournful, but hopeful. Not broken, but rising. For the first time in years, she believed tomorrow might shine for her too. She wasn't just a server. She wasn't just surviving. She was a musician reborn. And fate, this time, wasn't taking from her. It was giving back.